Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And welcome to
There's Something Wrong with the Elizabeths.
So what this is going to be is a documentary about our journey.
Yeah, you'll learn something, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like we'll learn something about friendship and humanity. We're going to watch the 1995 classic Showgirls in 24 hours. So this was inspired by the podcast The Worst of Idea of All Time by Tim Bett and Guy Montgomery, who watched Sex and the City 2 as well as Grown Ups 2 and now We Are Your Friends 52 times for a year.
Yeah, once a week, every week for a year. It was quite the feat. They deserve many accolades for this.
And this was inspired by them, so
hi Tim and Guy!
And when I was listening to this, I decided that I didn't think I could do 52 times, and I didn't think I could do for a year. But I definitely wanted to try, and I definitely want to do it for 24 hours, and my first thought was Showgirls and Elizabeth. Because in our friend group, we are the two Elizabeths, and there is something significantly wrong with us. So every time I've told anyone about this idea, they've gone, oh God, why? And then I told her and she went, yes!
I'm so honored. Oh, I'm so glad you thought of me because I'm so mad at myself for not coming up with this idea first. And I'm so proud of you for coming up with it. So we're in the car right now. We are getting ready to go see our friend who is a doctor. We're going to have her run some tests on us. You know, just to see, maybe watching Showgirls for 24 hours could be detrimental to your health. This way you get to know just how detrimental without actually taking it on yourself. So this aspect of our show is actually inspired by the Boondocks.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you ever see Boondocks?
Yeah. I remember that.
Brilliant episode, one of my favorites, and so yeah, it's the one where Riley becomes an artist. It always makes me cry. It makes me cry every episode. Anyways, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go see Chelsea and go get a little checkup, and then we'll be doing that again in 24 hours. All right, bye. All right, we are at the home of our personal physician, Dr. Chelsea. She's going to be doing a couple tests on us, measuring our health, making sure that we are in tip-top shape, ready to watch Showgirls for 24 hours.
I just want to know what Showgirls does to the human body.
Yes.
So
I don't think this is a good idea.
Would you say it's medically recommended or medically not recommended?
Medically not recommended.
Well, you heard it here, folks. That is this doctor's hypothesis. We will see. Maybe we'll come out more healthy than we were before.
I'm gonna doubt that.
Yeah.
Okay, so should I go first?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm better than her in blood pressure too? Oh, it does.
There can only be one Elizabeth, and clearly you are the one. I'll go jump off of the superior Elizabeth.
Oh, don't go all the way to Scotland. Texas has cliffs. We put it together a puzzle?
Yes, okay. Alright, now we are going to test our mental acuity by timing ourselves while putting together this puzzle. Did you already time it? You know?
No.
Oh, okay.
Cheating on that. Cheating.
Alright. Dr. Chelsea. Sending back the stopwatch. Typical. I'll bet you were cheating at his blood pressure, too.
No, these two are connected. I'm connected. Gotta keep our blood pressure low. I can hear it for this together. Dr. Chelsea. Alright.
Starting. Alright. Don't fuck it up.
Okay.
longer than I thought it
did.
would.
Welcome, I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And welcome back to There's Something Wrong with the Elizabeths.
Absolutely there is.
So we just got back from our friend Dr. Chelsea's,
Mm-hmm.
and we're cleared to...
We're on the A-OK. So we're gonna watch Showgirls for the first time. And we've got,
the VIP
edition.
in the box.
You want to show them what's in the box?
Oh, yeah, I do. Actually, I've never seen it. It was originally marketed as a bachelor party in a box, which is a really good question. Is it for men? Is this movie for men?
You know, the movie pushed really hard to be the first ever NC-17 film to be made and distributed with the understanding before it was made that it would be NC-17, as you can see.
It's the third Elizabeth.
Yes, the third Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Berkley.
There's something wrong with the Elizabeths. We stand by that statement. But yeah, so it's definitely supposed to be pornographic. I mean, they intended to make it this way. Seems like it's supposed to be for men, and yet the
Shot
director,
glasses.
friendship
Nice.
shot
Okay.
glasses,
Friends forever.
Friends forever.
Or at least for the next 24 hours. I'm not promising after that.
So, but the director has said that he wanted people to know the truth and reality about
Okay.
sex
Cards.
workers in Vegas and about exploitation and shit like that.
Do they go on her?
Yeah, it's you blindfold yourself. There's a blindfold in here. And then you are supposed to put the tassels blind on their nipples.
Yes.
Yes. Oh well, they stick better than I thought they would have.
So there will be different viewings, there will be different rules, there will be different games, and I feel like after the one that we are going to do a drinking game, we should blindfold each other.
Yes. This sounds like a thing that we should take time out of our lives to do.
Oh my god, collectible cards with the Showgirls with different games on them?
Yeah. And different
Nice.
postures of Elizabeth Berkley and her most dignified.
Oh.
So, yeah. Again, though, he makes a big deal about how this is supposed to be like a feminist film.
Wow, that one's
And if
interesting.
it is, then why does it need to be NC-17? Like, why did Elizabeth Berkley only get paid $100,000 to do this? There's a lot of questions.
I have a question for you before we begin.
Okay.
So in my not at all exhaustive research of this, I found out when they were making the VIP edition, they asked Elizabeth Berkley to come on and do a commentary track, which I would love to have. And she asked for $2,500, and they said no, thank you. How much would you?
I was going to ask you the same question. I'm going to ask Elizabeth. It's going to be a very clever question.
How much would you pay? Well, let me finish.
Okay.
For those of you who can't read each other's minds. How much would you pay Elizabeth Berkley to come and watch the movie with us?
I mean, I would put in on my part, and I would probably ask some of the other viewers to chip in maybe like $20 each, but I would put in personally like $500.
Nice. Okay.
Maybe $4. Because I'm thinking in my head, then I get a question of how much would I pay Gina Gershon? Well, I'd pay her more. How much would I pay Kyle MacLachlan? Well, I'd pay him more because,
I wouldn't pay Kyle
I'm a
MacLachlan
big
more.
Twin Peaks fan.
Oh, well.
And I like Portlandia. I like him on it. So I would just like to be near him.
But no, this is about Showgirls.
I know. I know.
How dare you? How dare you?
How dare I bring my pretentious
Portlandia.
Twin Peaks.
Showgirls.
You're right. You're right. I gotta get in that mindset.
Okay.
Okay.
Get ready to be forced into that mindset.
But yeah, so like Gina Gershon, I would pay like $5, maybe $550, and Kyle maybe like $600, and for me personally. So that lowers her price down. But I mean, come on, $2,500 they made. This didn't do that well in theaters, I don't think. But it sold a lot of DVDs because this was before porno on the internet was big. So it was.
Which also lends another question. We'll discuss it later. Can you masturbate to this movie?
We'll see.
Before we start this very first showing, let's talk about our very first time. So, Lizzie, tell me about your first time.
About my first time? Okay, I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I remember where I was, and I was being babysat, so I think I was 9 or 10. My stepdad was watching me, and I was in the other room just like doing my own thing, and I'm pretty sure he was watching it on television because all the nipples were blurred out. I would just be like walking in and out, like getting different Barbies or like markers or whatever, and I would come in like sometimes and like just look at the screen and be like, and there was one part in particular that really caught my eye. It was the lap dance scene where Elizabeth Berkley does this move that's kind of like a fish dying that's like on land. It's this exact move is what she's doing. And I remember having this thought, like, is that it? Like, are they doing it right now? Maybe I was younger than 9 or 10 because that sounds, but like, I'm just thinking like, I'm not gonna be up for that. Like, I don't think
that's what sex is.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm interested because this is very strange. And then some years later, I don't remember another time that I saw it, but some years later it was on Netflix, and we're gonna get paid by Netflix, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for that. But anyways, so it was on Netflix, and I just watched it, and it was so amazing, and it all came flooding back, and it's the kind of movie that gets into your head. And so I think like the next day I watched it again, and then I ended up watching it 3 times in one weekend. It was this is not my first Showgirls marathon.
And so my first time was on that weekend. I came over, and I think we were supposed to have game night.
Yeah.
Like we were supposed to be doing something else. And I came over, and Lizzie's like, you guys. And she did this great, crazy laugh, which you're probably going to hear later, where she's like,
I have a very charming laugh. I don't know what you're talking about.
And she's like, you guys, I've watched it 2 times in the last 2 days, and we're not going to play the game. We're going to watch Showgirls. And I remember as I was watching this movie, I understood. Like, it permeated part of me, and I understood why you watched it
So glad you're the only one who understood.
Everyone else was like, what the fuck?
Why?
Yeah.
Why did this happen?
But no, there's something wrong with the Elizabeth.
There's something wrong.
Do
you have any? Oh.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I'd like to answer, actually.
What is wrong
What
with
is
us?
wrong with the Elizabeth? Like, I'm hoping this amount of time spent in close proximity to other Elizabeths, that I'll be able to understand kind
Doing
of
something unhealthy.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to say too, in paying Elizabeth Berkley, I would also provide for her all the brown rice and vegetables that she could eat. Like, definitely, no problem. And we can paint our nails and do whatever.
Oh.
So do you have any fears going in? Are you worried about anything?
I'm worried that at the end of this I won't be able to tell if it's a good movie or a bad movie.
Yeah, I'm worried I might start liking it.
I'm worried I'm going to stop liking you.
Yeah.
I'm worried it's going to stop being fun and then never restart being fun.
Yeah, Tim and Guy have gone to some dark places. And I'm
Yeah.
a little nervous about going there, but I think we'll be okay. I am nervous about how many times I'm going to look at the camera, but not the camera.
Oh, I think I've been doing that.
I'm going to do it constantly, and it's going to be like a really weird, it's going to be like middle schoolers. They're just like looking at the camera like the whole time. And that's something that I'm very nervous.
Am I looking at the camera
If you're
now?
looking at the camera, do you want me to
Yeah,
get like
no,
a
but
sticker?
am
Like
I
if
looking?
we're-
Look at the screen.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking. Okay, cool.
One of your eyes is. Oh, I'm also worried about getting caught on camera saying something terrible. Like, I'm already kind of worried about, like, I have a lot of compassion for people in the sex industry, you know? And I've worked with a lot of prostitutes and, like, people that have been to some dark places, like Miss Elizabeth Berkley here. But I feel like after watching this movie, even just like 2 or 3 times, and be like, oh my god, these fucking goddamn whores. Like, I feel like I'm gonna start saying hateful things, and I'm nervous about that.
Okay. So this is her disclaimer that
This
she's
is
not
my
a horrible
disclaimer.
person.
I'm not that bad, but I also haven't watched this much Showgirls in a long time, so we'll see. All right.
Well, and I don't feel like they're an accurate representation, but
Yeah.
here's what I'm hoping for.
Okay.
So, yeah, my life has been kind of madhouse, crazy, difficult recently. And I'm kind of hoping that either Showgirls for 24 hours will be a really nice break. Like, I'm not allowed to do work, I'm not allowed to do anything.
I won't let you.
We don't have phones, we
gotta
don't have
focus.
internet, we are watching Showgirls.
Focus.
And I feel like it'll be either I will forget my troubles and I will disappear into a land of glitter, or I will hate it so much that the return to my sort of difficult life at the moment is going to be like such a breath of relief.
Thank
Sigh
you,
of relief.
Showgirls.
So,
Yes. For
either
putting
way,
things in
I'm in.
perspective.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it!
All right.
Hey everybody, I'm Elizabeth,
And I'm Elizabeth.
and welcome to
There's Something Wrong with the Elizabeths.
So we've just had our first viewing. Their names are scrolling up there in the credits. Elizabeth, thoughts on this first viewing of Showgirls?
I've only seen Showgirls like twice before this. Now it's my third time. And when we started talking about this, we purposely said, no watching it until... And I feel like if I had watched it in the last 6 months, I would have like
backed out.
It's a really long movie. And the plot doesn't start...
No, I'm not really sure where it is,
Yeah.
honestly. I guess...
Elizabeth, thoughts on first showing of Showgirls?
Okay, well, one thing that you mentioned during this showing is an idea or a theory on what Nomi's sexuality is.
Oh, yeah, okay. I have this theory, and I feel like it's going to be developed through multiple watchings. Nomi is full-on gay. Gina Gershon is bi. And Nomi is using straight sex as like a tool to get
what
further.
she wants.
And like a lot of the weird interactions between her and Gina Gershon's character, whose name I don't... Crystal
Connors.
are Crystal saying, no, you're like me, and Nomi saying, no, I'm not, and Crystal's talking about her whoring herself out. It's not like, oh, you're having sex for money, it's that you're having sex you don't want to be having with men for money when you could be having sex with me.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really valid theory. I personally think it's exemplified really well when you notice anytime Nomi is having sex or doing something sexual for the pleasure of someone, it's always for the pleasure of the man.
Yeah.
Like when she is having sex, and I don't know how to explain this. I mean, it's like this movie was made by 12-year-old boys.
Oh,
like
and
the
for
sex
12-year-old
in it,
boys.
yeah, and for 12-year-old boys. We discovered the demographic that this movie is for. It's for 12-year-old boys, clearly.
Hopefully who are not watching this movie or our YouTube channel.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's all just thrust. There's no, like, actual what would pleasure a woman. No one ever does anything for her. She never asks anyone to do anything for her. The only time that she looks close to orgasming is when she's talking to Crystal in a couple of scenes.
And when the black choreographer guy goes to finger her,
she says no.
She says no.
Mm-mm. She's
And-
not having it.
Yeah, and she would not be doing anything for him in that moment. She would be
No.
accepting sexual pleasure for herself.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And she's not into that.
Yeah.
She's not into it.
So yeah, I think this movie, for as willing as it is to be really adventurous and like pushing boundaries and everything, it's
Gonna
afraid
take us all the way.
It's gonna take us all the way. It's afraid to go full gay.
Yeah.
It's afraid to go full gay.
95, it was a confusing time. And we weren't ready yet, I guess, to go all the way.
All the
and
way.
Despite the tagline of this movie. Or no, the tagline is leave your inhibitions at the door. I'm thinking of the quote from the trailer. Last time they took you to the edge. This time they take you
all the way.
kind of homoerotic with two girls, but not quite. Like as seen through the eyes of 12-year-old boys.
Because Crystal is 100% wet for Nomi.
Yeah.
Crystal looks on the verge of orgasm every time they talk.
But my theory is that Crystal's not actually in most of the scenes that she's in.
Yes, I liked your theory.
My theory is that Crystal's in the scenes, most of the scenes where, she's in the scenes where there are other people, but there are so many scenes where it's just Crystal and Nomi that don't make any sense for the star of this show. Like, you know, in 8 years, because she's been doing this for 8 years, she's seen so many starlets come and go. Why Nomi? Why is Nomi so special that she takes time to simultaneously, like, take her under her wing and torture her and belittle her and, like,
and seduce her and take her out to lunch
her and befriend her, like, all these things? Why? I mean, and she might be a sociopath, but I just don't think there's enough hours in the day for her to, like, have all these interactions with Nomi. I think Nomi's just sitting at her dresser or whatever, imagining that at any moment Gina's watching her over there, and then they come up and have a conversation.
So maybe her conversations with Gina are her conversations with herself about her sexuality.
Yeah.
That she's unwilling to accept it, so she's, like, projecting it onto Crystal, who we need to call Crystal or Gina.
Crystal.
God,
So
there's a song called "The Most Beautiful Girl in the World" in this movie. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Sure.
So, as we mentioned in the previous video, this whole experiment has been inspired by the podcast The Worst Idea of All Time by Tim Bett and Guy Montgomery.
Hi, Tim and Guy. We love you.
Yeah.
Now.
I can only say their names how they say their names, apparently. And in it, they have a thing, which I think is a really great idea, the shining light, which is where, you know, because you're doing this horrible thing, you have to have a little bit of positivity infused into it so you don't go crazy. We've decided to call it the spotlight, because it's Showgirls, so it's thematically fitting, and we're not just stealing ideas. But that's a lot of, I mean, we're homage. Anyways, so Elizabeth, tell me, what was your spotlight?
My spotlight this time was there's a straight male background dancer who slaps a female background dancer on the ass, and then she gets really mad at him about, like, you know, don't do that. Yeah. And then immediately after, there's these two gay background dancers who are like, oh, he has to show how straight he is all the time. He has to show how straight he is. And then one of them says, give me your flashlight. I want to see how big his dick is. And they pull, like, his whatever out. Yeah. And he gets so mad. And I'm like, yeah, it's almost like someone touched you sexually.
Yeah, without your permission.
Yeah, like, it was so cool when you did it. Like, I thought it was kind of cool. Like, they didn't completely come out and say, like, oh, how do you like it? Yeah. But it was kind of cool. Like, yeah, it's immediate retribution for that.
Do you think that was intentional on the part of the movie makers, director?
No. And I'm also not saying, like, everyone should be touched in a way they don't want so they can learn. But I think it was an interesting choice of the movie to do.
No, I agree. And I agree. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was just, let's shove as many sexual things into every frame.
That should be the tagline. Let's shove as many sexual things.
Just in your face. Just like, got a guy grabbing ass, let's get a guy grabbing dick, let's get people nipples everywhere. Like, yeah, I mean, Paul Verhoeven or whatever, I mean, seemed to think this was gonna be a serious movie, but I still don't think he had the insight. I think that was just a clever,
what was your spotlight?
My spotlight, I had a lot. Yeah, you turn the volume down. I'm gonna go for now because it got the most auditory response from me, involuntary. That, like, bejeweled swim cap that Elizabeth. So Nomi gets the, like, top role that
spoilers.
Crystal. Yeah, spoilers. She shows up to be a showgirl, and she's a showgirl in the movie Showgirls. But she gets the, like, lead role, and she comes out of this volcano, I think, and it's like jewels all over the scalp of her head. It's like a swim cap with jewels, but her hair is still sticking out the back like a little ponytail. It is amazing. I wish it was, like, socially okay for me to just walk around like that. It is so good.
When she says a verbal reaction, she was
like,
just screaming.
Oh my god!
Oh, look at her swim cap!
Gorgeous swim cap. And I guess that's what it is. A swim cap with the whole... Molly designed it herself. I don't know.
So we're one showing down.
Uh-huh.
We have another one full showing to go before we do our third showing, where it's going to be in complete silence. And sometime during that showing, we will be allowed to begin drinking.
It's a little after 10.
It's a little after
in the morning. But already this movie. Okay, another thing, because we're just gonna totally pay respect.
Oh,
That's what we'll call it, to Tim and Guy. I'm gonna pretend for a minute here that I am a producer, executive producer, big time, big shot, executive producer, and you got to come in and you got to sell me this movie. So, how are you doing it?
Thank you for seeing me.
Yeah.
I know your time is very valuable. And speaking of time, I want to talk to you about it's 1995.
It is.
The internet isn't really around. There's this thing that's going to be.
What is the internet?
And it's going to be amazing.
Okay.
But right now, you know, if you want porn, you have to drive to a place with porn. You have to
outside.
look through all of the different porn you want, and you have to feel the shame of people watching you buy porn. And if you're a 12-year-old boy, that time is valuable.
A 12-year-old executive.
Yes, I'm amazed that you got to this rank.
I worked very hard, and yeah, I got to a point where I could hire other people to go buy porn for me. But I know the shame you're talking about. Yes.
The shame, the time as a 12-year-old, you don't have.
No, I don't.
Time or the emotional fortitude for that yet. So what I'm suggesting is a movie that we will advertise as satire, but is really just wank material.
Soda! My assistant is very grumpy with you.
I know you have.
My
people
time's
waiting.
very valuable. My assistant's trying to keep people out as we speak.
We're gonna market it as a movie that will change, you know, the way we see Showgirls, but in reality, it is just wank material. And have you ever heard of a show called Saved by the Bell?
I have, yes. I'm a 12-year-old boy in 1995. I have.
Have you ever had a crush on any of the girls from Saved by the Bell?
Oh, yeah. I really liked the girl with the brown hair and the bangs who dated Zach. And I
The other one.
Oh, the black girl with the fun hats.
The other one.
The, like, uptight feminist one?
Yes.
Okay.
How would you like to see her vagina?
Ah, yeah. And, you know, as a 12-year-old boy in 1995, I am always thinking that secretly, deep down inside, all uptight feminists just want to show me their vagina.
And that is what I'm going to show you.
Oh, shit. Am I going to learn anything about sex when I watch this movie? Like, am I going to learn how to have sex? Because I'm a 12-year-old boy.
In fact, you are. You're going to learn about how sex is all about you.
Oh,
and
awesome.
that this girl,
I secretly kind of thought that,
is
like,
angry and yells and hits people for treating her as a sexual
Must
object,
be that time of the month.
secretly wants to be treated as a sexual object.
Okay. I'm buying it.
All
yeah.
right.
All right. Here's your check.
Several $1 million, please.
Yes, $45 million.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty sure that's how this movie got made. Pretty sure that's how the conversation went. Oh, man. All right.
This is one showing in. One.
Okay. Oh, more Showgirls.
All right, so start number 2.
Yay!